Sonic Rumble has been out for a little over 2 weeks as the day of this recording. And for playing this game roughly about 20 hours now, I've gotten my personal opinion on the game and how I feel about it. Now, most people will say that this is a pretty mixed reviewed game, with a lot of people really enjoying it, but on the other side, there's a lot of people that actually really dislike it for many reasons. The main reason is what this video is titled, and is Sonic Rumble greedy? Now, I'll get into that in just a little bit, and I'll get into what people mean by that, and kind of weigh my opinion on it. But I would like to take a second before kicking things off and say thank you to the Sonic Team Rumble team. They allowed me to join the creator program, which allowed me to get some in-game rewards for just being a creator. Some of those things consist of exclusive skins, chow, some free red star rings, and even a little icon next to my name in the game. It's pretty crazy to think that I'm in any creator program for a Sonic game, no matter how big or small that Sonic game is. Sonic has been my entire life since I was 3 years old, and I am absolutely ecstatic just to be a part of this. So thank you so much to the creator team behind Sonic Rumble for allowing me to be a part of the program. But with that being said, I am not paid to say this game is amazing, good, or anything at all. While I might be in the creator program, I'm going to be as honest as possible about Sonic Rumble. I'm going to talk about the good, bad, and even worse part of this game. I've done the same thing for every single Sonic game, and this one is going to be no different. So, let's get into it. The first thing I actually want to talk about is going to be the gameplay. Gameplay has always been the most important thing to me for any video game, period. Before graphics, before music, before any of that, gameplay is still king to this day in my opinion. If a game is fun, I'm going to play it no matter what it looks like or sounds like. Now this game works very similar to the way that Fall Guys does, and a lot of people even kind of comparing the two, saying that this is the Fall Guy version of Sonic. Now I do think that they're very similar games where you're constantly trying to qualify and move on throughout these stages, and in the end you're trying to get first place at the end, with meeting whatever requirement that might be. And yeah, they are very similar in that sense, and I think that maybe Sonic Rumble took some inspiration from Fall Guys. However, I actually think that Sonic Rumble does it somewhat better in my opinion. Not trying to put my Sonic biasy hat on or anything like that, but Sonic Rumble has a few different things that I think makes the game better in my opinion. Within the stages, there are item boxes that basically allow you to do different things in the game, whether that be a comeback mechanic or even protection like a shield. There's ones that actually end up homing attack after other players that basically knocks them away, but also allows you to progress a little bit further. And there's even kind of like a grab or slingshot thing that kind of reminds me of Spider-Man in a way, where it's going to pull that person back and launch you forward. A really cool mechanic in the game, and I would love to see them add potentially more items in the game, like maybe some of the elemental shields. The other thing that I really enjoy in the game is going to be the skills. Now the nice thing with the skills is you don't have to necessarily pay for them by any means, you can get all of them for free. And it's pretty easy to do so by just playing the game and progressing throughout your level. Some characters have some exclusive skills, but there also are some that are better than others. And while I haven't been able to personally use all of them, I think this is a really cool mechanic in the game and also kind of adds somewhat of a skill expression in the game as well, where if you skillfully use your skills, you're able to knock people off the map or even progress yourself further in the race ahead of people, or whatever type of game mode you're doing. I for one have been rocking the Charge Blast pretty consistently, as I think that this is completely busted, where it basically will go ahead and knock people off the board. So if you're actually sitting on like a road or anything like that and you're waiting to progress for the road to load or anything like that, you can use this while standing next to people and it will completely knock them off the track and allowing you to get a lot farther ahead of them. And it'll hit multiple people at that. Now, like I said, I haven't used every skill, so don't take my advice necessarily. I'm sure there are other people that will tell you a lot different things than I will. But I think the skills are a really cool addition to the game and really make the game feel really unique to any other game that's like this. Something that Fall Guys never had. At least to my knowledge. I'm not going to act like I'm a Fall Guy expert out here. I didn't really play it that much. And I think it's really cool that characters have their very own skills as well. Where for instance, like the Chaos Spear is exclusive to using a Shadow skin in the game. And every other character has something different, which is really cool. This does kind of somewhat make it to where some characters might be better to use than others, but at least from my time playing the game, it doesn't make that much of a difference, but I'm sure when you get a little bit higher level and a little bit higher of a rank, I'm sure that it matters a lot more. Now, there are a few different game modes that you can actually play within this game. The main one that's always going on is going to be Ring Survival, where basically the whole idea is just to get as many rings as possible, and the person with the most rings at the end of the third game will be the winner. Typically there's 3 games. The first one typically is a race where you have to just race to the end and be in the top 16 to qualify. The second one is usually a survival minigame, where you either have to not fall into the water or out of bounds. And the last one is typically just collecting as many rings as possible and the person with the most at the end. of the remaining players will be the winner. Pretty simple, but really fun. The other one that's really cool that you typically only get one ticket per day to use is Quick Rumble, where it's only one game, and the person to win that game mode is the winner. There isn't any other game after that. Typically, you can only do this once a day, but you can stack up to 3 tickets, which is nice. I think it's kind of fun to log in every day and do the Quick Rumble personally. It doesn't take up that much time, and it's a really easy way to get a bunch of rings early in the day. The other one is Co-op Battle, where typically there is some type of boss. The one that's going on tomorrow as the day of this recording is the Bio Lizard, which is really cool. I played one of the Eggman ones in the past, and it was okay. I would say it's pretty repetitive at that. I wouldn't say that it would be something that I would constantly grind by any means. I definitely prefer the other modes more than this. But it's cool to have an option, and it's also cool to be able to compete with other people against boss fights. And the next one is my personal favorite, which is the Hyper Boost Battle, and I think that this should just always be a game mode going on at all times. So this is a special rumble that basically goes on only a certain time of day, and it's even possible that they'll close it for quite a few days at that. But this basically is just going to be ring survival, where it's the same type of game modes, but you're just increased speed. In a way, if you think about it, it's just kind of like doing supersonic speed or 200cc in the racing games. This just feels so fun. Your jumps are farther, and you also just move a lot faster, which feels very natural for any Sonic game or any Sonic player. It kind of feels like that this was the speed that the game should have went just always. Now, I don't think that there's anything wrong with the speed that it's at by any means, but I do think it's a really good addition for a special rumble, and I wish that this was just a game mode at all times, because I would only play this one. Now, rings are pretty king, and that's a big thing that you're going to gain throughout these game modes. It's honestly the main reason you even play the game to begin with, is to collect rings to be able to buy stuff. You have a really cool ring shop where you can buy skins or different stickers. Sometimes there's even chow in there, or even like additional boosts that will go ahead and boost some of your stats for the day. And there's even kind of like a step-up reward where you can get this really cool looking SBO skin for completely free. SBO is one of my favorite characters, so it's super cool to see him get some recognition and get a free skin at that. However, the problem with this is basically there's a ring limit with how many rings you can gain in a set amount of time. So typically when you first start for the day, saying that you haven't played in a decent amount of time, or when you first log in, your ring limit will be 16,000, saying that you can only get 16,000 rings at this time. And honestly, if you're decent at the game, you can usually do that in 2 to 3 ring survival games. But this will, over time, kind of give you some more limit as well. Or typically every hour or so, it'll give you 70. But it usually takes an entire day to go completely back to empty, which kind of sucks because it kind of limits just you playing the game. There's been a few times where I hit my ring limit, and then it just kind of feels like there isn't really a point to me playing anymore for the day, and I'll just go back to Crossworlds or any other game that I'm playing at the moment. And the only way that you can actually increase this limit is by paying for it. But we'll give them the benefit of the doubt. It's only $3. I don't personally pay for it, but it is a free game at the end of the day, so I guess you can't complain too much. You know, it's just one thing to pay for, right? Definitely. But while playing the game, there is a ton of missions and rewards for free for you to gain. So when I first started, there was a total of 3 battle passes. The first one being just the Season 1 battle pass that goes ahead and has Sir Lancelot, Chrome Eggman, and a bunch of different bonuses inside of it. But you also had the Sonic Movie 3 one and the Halloween one at the time. And the really cool thing about each of these battle passes, they have a free section where you're able to gain a bunch of rewards. This typically includes rings, the little badges that you need to be able to get skills, and even sometimes it'll give you some free red star rings to be able to buy skins in the game. It isn't that much, but you can definitely save them up for later. While that is all great, and I'm glad that that is an option, like I said, there is 3 battle passes, meaning that if you want all of the rewards, and some of these rewards are really cool in my opinion, like the Season 1 having Sir Lancelot as a paid version of the battle pass, the Halloween one having a paid version of Silver in a Halloween costume as a vampire, and the Sonic 3 crossover event having a paid version of the gold Eggman skin, and many other things. Now the problem with this is not necessarily that there is so many battle passes. I think it's great that there is so many rewards at one time. I love that they're adding so much into the game and bringing back older stuff that a lot of us that didn't get to play the game earlier are now getting to experience. The problem is each battle pass is roughly around $9. So rounding that up, you have to pay roughly $30 for each of the battle passes. You do get really good rewards, and I personally bought 2 of them, but in a way, it's kind of crazy to think that if this is going to be a consistent thing where they have multiple battle passes for every holiday or some cool event going on, that gets really expensive over time. Like, I really wish that there was just one fee of like $10 to get all of the battle passes that are going on in, say, like an exact month. So every month during the first day of that month, you pay $10 and then you get all the battle passes. I think that would be a cool idea. And even then, that's pretty reasonable and even more expensive than a lot of other games that do battle passes. If you think of Fortnite, kind of the grandfather of doing battle passes, they have a lot of battle passes, don't get me wrong, but the main battle pass that they do is for every season, which is roughly about, what, 3 to 4 months long? So you're paying like $10 every 3 to 4 months. This, in my example, you'd only be paying $10 every month, which is technically more. And honestly, I wouldn't really have a problem with that as long as I'm getting all of them. But paying $30 every single month just absolutely blows my mind. That's way too expensive. That's just another thing that you have to pay for in the game of many. But let's talk about more. Let's talk about skins. There are a bunch of free skins that you can actually end up getting in the game, and that's great. For signing up for different newsletters, or even just playing the game, they'll give you free skins. Or you can just simply unlock the base skins in the game by doing different Rumble events that are going on while playing the game. That's cool as well, and I'm glad that you don't have to pay for just the base version of like Silver or Jet or anything like that. But let's take a look at some of the skins that I consider to be cooler. So if you take a look at the shop right now from what's going on, they currently have the neon suit skins going on right now. Now, at first, it's a pretty daunting number of 729 red star rings for each of them, with silver being a little less. Why silver is a little less, I have no idea, because the skin just looks just as cool as any of the others. But I digress. Same thing for Excalibur Sonic. You also have some deals on some other ones like some of the other Black Knight characters or Jet or Storm where they're a little bit cheaper. Or even you have this Mummy Knuckles that's 1,000 red star rings, or this Witch Rouge, which is the same. If you click on it, you do get a lot of score bonus on there, which basically allows you to level up faster, which is cool. But I want to take you over to the Red Star Ring shop. Let's take a look at how much it would cost to be able to obtain some of these skins. Now let's say you want to buy Storm or Wave. You need roughly about 230 Red Star Rings. So the cheapest option to do that right now, and these are base skins, they're not special skins by any means, this is just how the characters look in any other Sonic game they've been in, it's $20 to do that. And that's just for Storm and Wave, two characters that have been in the series for quite some time now. But okay, let's talk about the Neon Suit characters. Those were 729 Red Star Rings, being on a sale at the time of this recording. They're typically 1,000, but we'll get to that in a second. So if we need 729 Red Star Rings, we could buy this bundle right here, which is going to be 770 rings for $45.99. So for a legendary skin, you have to pay $46. That's almost the price of a video game. At least saying that the video game is $60. I know a lot of them are $70, but $60 is typically the standard. That's insane for just a visual thing in the game. Again, I'm going to make the comparison with a lot of Battle Royale games because they do similar things with skins and stuff like that. A Fortnite skin is typically like $20. You know what? I can kind of justify that if you want the most coolest collab skins. Some of them you can even get for $10 if you get some of the V-Bucks in the battle passes of the game. And you can get some red stars in this, but there isn't that many opportunities to get a lot of red star rings in this game. $46 is an insane asking price for these skins. Especially if you're a big fan of Sonic and Shadow, you have to pay that twice to be able to get that. And say, hey, I want all the skins. You have to pay that 3 times. That's insane to me how many times that you would have to pay for that. You're spending well over $100 already on the game. But let's talk about the characters that were 1,000 red star rings like Mummy Knuckles. Moving up to the next option, it is $100. The next closest option is $1,700. There's nothing in between those two right now at the moment. 1,700 red star rings is $100, and if you wanted to buy both of them, you would have to spend roughly about $120 to be able to get both of the legendary skins that are priced at 1,000. Why? Like, that doesn't make any sense to me on why a skin would ever cost that much. I don't know if there's a game in history that does skins that makes you pay that much for a skin. I understand that you can technically earn all of these in your own way through the battle pass or just playing the game and gaining red star rings over time, but I don't think it's really fair to make people, if they want the skin now and not have to grind for the skin and maybe not get and have to wait for it to come back eventually, to pay $100 for a skin. That's insane to me for a skin that ultimately doesn't even really look that different. I get it, Excalibur Sonic is really nostalgia bias, and it is a really cool looking skin. I just don't think that's fair in any way that we have to be paying that. That's just something that needs to be entirely rehauled or fixed. The prices need to come down on that. Like I said, I understand it's a free game. They're not asking us to pay anything to even play the game, and they give us free stuff all the time. But when a cool collab like the Sonic and the Black Knight skins come out, I shouldn't be paying close to $100 every time a cool skin comes out. I have no intentions of buying any red star rings if that's the price. If the skins are $20 to $10, you know what? I'll throw some money into the game and say, hey, that's a pretty cool skin, I want to rock that in the game. It just isn't that way. And in my opinion, that's the number one thing that just needs to change about this game, and it's the biggest thing that just kind of puts a damper on the game, to be honest with you. It made a lot of people stop playing the game almost instantly from when it came out. They loaded up the game, played the game, and said, hey, this is pretty fun, and then went ahead and looked at all the shop prices to see how much stuff will end up being, and just kind of said, nah, I'm good. In a way, I was pretty taken back by how much these are actually costing. I don't know if it was always like this when the game was out pre-release, but it's just insane to think of how expensive it is. Considering that this is a mobile game, I didn't have high expectations going into it for gameplay-wise. It is really fun, but thinking about it, think of what if Sonic Racing Cross Worlds made a skin, let's say like the Phantom Rider for Sonic, and then they just said, you can have it, but you have to pay $100 for it. I think that people would go absolutely insane on social media with just how bad that would be, and a lot of people would end up boycotting probably Sonic Racing Cross Worlds for that. Yes, you have to pay to play Sonic Racing Cross Worlds opposed to Sonic Rumble being free. I get that. And I get that skins cost money. They should. Especially for a free game, don't get me wrong there. But $100, like, come on. That's way, way, way too crazy. But let's move on from the skins. But still within the topic of kind of talking about how this is still kind of a money grab type of game. Like I said, the gameplay is actually very fun and even addicting. I find myself coming back to the game every single day to get the daily rewards in my ring limit, but every time I play a game, I'm met with an ad after the game telling me to buy stuff. Now, it does seem like this has gotten a little bit better, as it doesn't seem consistently every single game, at least on PC. But when I first started playing this game, every single time I would get eliminated or I would end a ring survival mode, I would instantly get an ad telling me that either a battle pass is available or there's some type of thing I can buy for in-game currency or rewards. Now, like I said, this is a little bit better on PC, but this is significantly worse on mobile. I don't play this game a bunch on mobile. I recently downloaded it when I went to Japan because I wanted to do some of my daily logins there, and I also was able to get some early access being a creator in the game. However, the ads are even worse on the mobile version. There's not only a little chest that floats around the home screen of telling me to watch an ad to earn a chest in the game, but also anytime I buy something or do anything worth redeeming in the game, like the Sonic 3 event where it basically has you use these shadow tokens to unlock rewards in the game, it'll say watch an ad to get additional rewards. Like, I get it, like, that's probably fine for some people, and it's cool that they're offering you a reward for something. But I'm gonna be honest, I don't really ever want to sit through an entire ad just to earn an additional play in this raffle or anything like that. I would rather just wait till tomorrow and then do the 3 that I get every day. I wish there was just an option to turn these off, if that is the case, because I'm always gonna say no. But then again, they would probably charge you for turning ads off. It's just kind of ridiculous at this point. I will say the game does run pretty well on mobile, I will give them that. And it is really convenient to be able to hop on my phone if I'm outside of the house or on a trip or anything like that, to be able to do my dailies or do some games while I'm having some free time. So to answer your question on maybe why you clicked on this video is this game greedy? No, I don't know if it was necessarily Sega or the Rumble team's intention to seem so money grabby. I don't know what went into the process of that, but it really kind of seems like they are greedy. Like I've said multiple times now, this is a free game. I get it, you gotta make money somehow, but asking for money every single corner that I turn in this game is not an enjoyable experience. It's something that I personally think needs to change in the game, and it would make the game significantly better in my books. At this point, I just feel like I'm playing an EA game at this point, where there is just microtransactions in every corner of the game. But taking a step away from talking about all the money that the game wants you to spend on it, the game does have an extreme amount of potential. This game not only constantly is getting updates, but also really big events going on. Like I've talked about already, there was a Halloween and a Sonic 3 movie event already. And I imagine that there's going to be some type of Christmas event and many other events, especially with the 35th anniversary coming up very soon for Sonic. The skins actually do look really cool, and a lot of them are original skins to the game. I think that's a really cool feature, and I absolutely love the silver skin that I was able to purchase in the game. I just think that if the prices were to come down, it would be a lot more appealing and a lot more easier to be able to purchase these in my opinion. It's hard for me just to shell out $70, $40, or even $100 to buy a skin. That's just a big ask for me, personally. What's kind of crazy to think is you can either have the option to spend $40 on a skin in Sonic Rumble, which is just purely cosmetic, it doesn't give you a strategic advantage at all, or you could just spend $20 at Target or any other retailer to buy Sonic Frontiers, which is an incredible Sonic game with a bunch of content jam-packed into it. And hey, they even give you some free skins in that game to be able to run around with. Sure, they're not super detailed or anything like that, and they're not like insane looking skins, but just to kind of put that into comparison, it's pretty crazy to think that I can buy 2 copies of Sonic Frontiers before I can even buy 1 skin in Sonic Rumble. But again, I'm getting too sidetracked with money purposes. Like I said, the game has a bunch of potential. I think they can create some amazing skins in the game, and there's also a bunch of levels that they can add into the game. There are already so many, and it really feels like I haven't played all of them yet, since there is so many in the game. It's pretty cool to be 20 hours deep and still come across different tracks that I haven't played on yet. And I'm sure that they're going to continue adding more in the future. I think it would be really cool for potentially like the Christmas event adding stages like Ice Cap, White Acropolis, or many other snow stages that the Sonic series has had before. And also, the game modes that they've came out with so far are a bunch of fun. I think it would be really cool if you introduced some other game modes as well that potentially even gave us a bigger challenge. And the other thing I will say is the Rumble team is drastically trying to change the game. They have stated that. They have told us that in the creator Discord, and they've also asked for our take on a bunch of stuff, and they really are listening to feedback about Sonic Rumble. They really want to see the game be successful and continue to be successful. And that's really big. That's huge in gaming these days. Not a lot of companies or creators will ever do that. I think they're really taking feedback to heart, and I think that they will make a change in the future. How drastic of a change will it be? I'm not sure. I think the main thing that they need to change is for sure going to be the Red Star Ring price, or even just giving us additional ways to earn Red Star Rings. There is a 15 million player milestone going on right now where you can earn up to 300 Red Star Rings for completely free and just logging in and playing the game. Stuff like that needs to be a consistent thing, not necessarily just a milestone thing in my opinion. It doesn't have to be easy missions like just logging in. If it's just simply playing the game or, winning a game, like it'd be really cool if like every game that you got first place, you got 10 Red Star Rings. Or maybe even more. Because then there's an incentive to going all out and really trying to get first place. But honestly, this game, if you just fix that, is really, really solid. Have continued events going on, have different game modes come up, have different stages added to the game, make some more really cool looking skins. I really love the neon suit skins. They look super good. And I think this game will be perfectly fine for a long time. I think a big comparison to make is look at Sonic Force's Speed Battle, another game that is more targeted towards mobile players and still has options to where you can pay for stuff in the game to be able to level up your characters or be able to unlock characters a lot easier, but there's still an option to be able to unlock all these characters for free. You can really grind it out and unlock them, or you can really grind out to get different rings and different things to unlock those characters later on. I think they need to take a big idea from Sonic Force's Speed Battle and look at how long Sonic Force's Speed Battle has been going on. I think when the game came out, if you would have told me that it's still running in 2025, I think I would have probably called you insane. So there's definitely an audience for Sonic Rumble to 100% be successful. The Rumble team just needs to handle it properly. But I'd love to know what you guys think in the comments below. If you've played Sonic Rumble, what do you think of the game so far? But if you haven't played it, what's stopping you from playing the game potentially? Let me know what you guys have to say in the comments, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace!